Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopi Janna Vallabha Gopi Janna Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Bhaja Janaranjana. Yaruna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Kirade. Jaya Radha Girirari Radha Girirari Kirade. Haribo, 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 Nitai Gora, Haribo. Jaja Nitai Gora, Premanande. Radha Madhava ki jai, Grantaraj ki Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Would someone like to read Lilamrita?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I am sharing the screen. Can someone read from there? Is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Can someone read it, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
First time to move the Swami into new place. A few friends who were on hand accompanied the Swami over the Bhavri loft. Maybe they were not prepared to become surrendered disciples, but contributing toward the first month's rent and volunteering for a few hours of work to help set up this place were exactly the kinds of things they could do very willingly. At the loft, they all gathered up portions of the Swamiji's belonging, and then they started out on foot of Lowry. It was like a safari, a caravan of half a dozen men loaded with Prabhupada things. Michael carried the heavy rubbers reel to reel, and even the Swami carried 2 suitcases. They did everything so quickly that it was not until they were well on their way and Mike's arm began to ache that he realized, why didn't we bring a car? It was the end of June and a hazy summer sun poured its heat down into the Bawari jungle, starting and stopping the strange safari, stretching for over a block, slowly tricked along. Prabhupada struggled with his suitcase past the seemingly unending row of restaurants, supply shops, and lamp stores between Grand and Bromley and Spring Streets. Sometimes he paused and rested, sitting on suitcase down. He was finally moving from Bowery. His electrician friend on 72nd Street would have been relieved, although perhaps he would have disapproved of the Second Avenue address also. At last, he was finished deciding on Skid Row. He walked on past the homeless man outside the Salvation Army shelter, past two open-door taverns, stopping at street lights, standing alongside total stranger, keeping an eye on the progress of his procession of friends who struggled along behind him. The very artist and musician saw him as highly worked. They felt that the spirit was moving him and were eager to help him set up his own path. He could do his valuable spiritual thing and spread it to others. He was depending on them for help, yet they knew he was on the higher level. He was his own protector, or, as he said, God protected him. The Swami and his young friends reached the corner of the Wari and Houston, turned right and proceeded east. Gazing steadily ahead of, he walked. Prabhupada saw the southern end of the Second Avenue, 1 block away. A Second Avenue, he would turn left, walk just 1 block north across the First Street, and arrived at his new home. As he passed the IND subway entrance, the storefront came into view, matchless gifts. He gripped his suitcase and moved ahead. At Second Avenue and Houston, he hurried through a break in the rapid traffic. He could see green trees holding their heads above the high courtyard wall, reaching up like overgrown weeds in the space between the front and rear building of his new address. The street side building housed his meeting hall, the rear building, the apartment where he would live and translate. Adjoining the storefront building on its north side was a massive 9-story warehouse. The warefront structure was only 6 stories and seemed appended to the larger building like its diminutive child. On its southern side, Prabhupada's new temple showed a surface of plain cement and was free of any adjoining structure. There was only the spacious lot of busy mobile service station, that bordered his first street. As Prabhupada approached the storefront, he could see two small lanterns decorating the narrow doorway. There was no certainty of, but already there had been a good sign that these American young people, mad though they sometimes were, would exactly take part in Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. Perhaps this new address would be a place where he could actually get a footing with his International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Devaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarva Sastra Dipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Sadantara Nadya Sarva Laikika Trikpada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mind of the precious gems of all conclusive truths. You are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Shrimad Bhagavata Prabhu, Kalitvanto Tata Ditya, Shri Krishna Paravaitata. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Shrimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Shaksharayate. Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishna Namostame. I bow down to you as supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Maguru Mamahadana Manistabika Madbhagya Madananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asaru Saruta Dayin Nati Nishosata Kara Hanamajikata Chinmam Premla Hitkandiyospara. I bestow saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalted and most fallen. Lead me, always appear in my heart and my voice with you. Gantaraj Bhagavatam. So today we are reading from Gantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, entitled The Characteristics of King Puranjana. Text number 3. Prachina Barhisham Shata Karamas Vasakta Manasam Narado Dhyatma Tatvagnya Kripalu Pratyabodhayat Prachini Barhisham Shata Karmasva Saktamanasam Narado Dhyatma Tatvagnya Kripalu Pratyabodhayat Prachina Barhisham Shata Karmasva Saktamanasam Narado Dhyatma Tatvagnya Kripalu Pratyabodhayat. Word for word, please repeat. Prachini Barhisham, unto King Prachini Barhishat, Shata, Ovidura, Karmasu, in fruit of activities, Asakta, attached, Manasam, with this mentality, Narada, the great sage Narada, Dhyatma, Adhyatma, spiritualism, Tatvagnya, one who knows the truth, Kripalu, being compassionate, Pratyabodhayat, giving instructions. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. While the princes were undergoing severe austerities in the water, their father was performing different types of fruitive activities. At this time, the great Saint Narada, master and teacher of all spiritual life, became very compassionate upon the king and decided to instruct him about spiritual life. Purport. As pointed out by Prabodhananda Saraswati Thakur, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Kaivalya, or merging into the Brahman effulgence, is just like going to hell. He similarly states that elevation to the upper planetary systems for the enjoyment of heavenly life is just so much phantasmagoria. This means that a devotee does not give any importance to the ultimate goal of the karmis and gyanis. The ultimate goal of the karmis is promotion to the heavenly kingdom, and the ultimate goal of the gyanis is merging into the Brahman effulgence. Of course, the Gyanis are superior to the Karmis, as confirmed by Lord Chaitanya. Koti karmanishta madhye eka jnani shreshta. One Gyani, or impersonalist, is better than many thousands of fruitive actors. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 19.147. Therefore, a devotee never enters upon the path of karma or elevation by fruitive activities. Narada Muni took compassion upon King Prachinabhahishat when he saw the king engaged in fruitive activity. In comparison to mundane workers, those who are trying to be elevated to the higher planetary systems by performing yagyas are undoubtedly superior. In pure devotional service, however, both karmis and gyanis are considered bewildering features of, karma and jnana are considered bewildering features of the illusory energy. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Agyana Timarandasya Gyananjana Tasmai Shri Gurave Mukham Karochi Vachalam Pangum Lageti Gurim Yakripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Jinataranam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we have another example of offspring being more advanced than parents. The King Hishad was fully engaged in performing fruitive activities, for elevation to the heavenly planets. His sons were engaged in austerity. We hear the results of the austerities they're performing, actually, by reciting the song sung by Lord Shiva. At the end, the previous chapter, devotee who rises early in the morning and with folded hands chants these prayers sung by Lord Shiva and gives facility to others to hear them certainly becomes free from all bondage to fruitive activities. So we find many times in Shastra how a child is more advanced than their parents. Prahlad Maharaj, classic example. I think he was a little bit more spiritually advanced than his father. Excuse my sarcasm. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's one humorous exchange where Lord Chaitanya, he's just, believe, returned to Jagannath Puri from his tour. And the devotees have gone to meet him. And his attention goes on to two of his devotees, Mukunda Das and Raghunandan. And Lord Chaitanya says, Mukunda Das, you are the father and Raghunandan is your son. But actually, is it that Raghunandan is the father and you are his son? And Mukunda Das, he thought, and he said, actually, yes, it is true. Like, I am the son and Raghunandan is my father. And Mukunda Das went on to explain that, from Raghunandan, our bhakti was born. He is the most advanced devotee in our family. And so he is the father of the family. So we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 5, text 18, Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivim na tatsyan, na patishta sasyan, na mochayadya simapetya mrityam. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So this is the qualification. According to the Bhagavatam, this is a qualification that one before begetting a child. Can you imagine if we had that standard in ISKCON? That anyone who wants to beget a child has to do a guruship course. And to see if they're qualified to have a child. Well, we would have a lot of sober children in our movement. It would be a great benediction, actually. But practically speaking, I think there would be an uprising. And so yes, the qualification to become a parent is that one has to be qualified to deliver their parents, to deliver their children from the cycle of repeated birth and death. Last night, I had a very interesting experience at the loft. I was sitting down at a table and one lady sat down next to me. And she happened to be the mother of a devotee, one devotee called Bhakta Kam. And she lives in the South Island in a small town called Westport, north west of the South Island. And she said to me, because recently Cam's mother and father, they bought a plot of land, and Cam's moving his tiny home back onto the land to live. And Cam's mother, she said to me, I have a big concern. I'm actually quite worried, that Cam won't have any devotee association. I was shocked. I never heard like a mother say that to me, And I was thinking, well, she is actually Cam's guru. She is qualified to have Cam as her son. She may not be preaching the Siddhanta to him, but in essence, one cannot practice bhakti on their own, especially at this time and in Kali Yuga. It's practically impossible. One leaves the association of devotees, it's as good as dropping their bhakti. So she was expressing her concern to me. I don't know what Cam's going to do. I know he's changed so much for the better in the association of devotees. I fear for him. That if he's he won't be around devotees anymore. So that they're scheming on how they can, regularly put Cam on an airplane in Westport and send him to Wellington or Christchurch, to get devotee sangha. You know, so it's yeah, that was I was very, very happy to hear that. You know, that made my day. And so we hear in today's verse and purport how Narada Muni comes again, the transcendental spaceman. Traversing throughout the three worlds, Narada Muni moves compassion, deliver living entity from the grip of illusory energy and return home back to Godhead. Actually, super here in the Bhagavatam, how Narada Muni was cursed not once, but twice, right? Once by Daksha, you know, that Narada Muni, Daksha had 10,000 sons who went to perform austerity with it in mind that they would return to their father and become expert in karma kanda, in material household life. And Narada Muni delivered those sons. He preached to them in such a way that they took sannyas. They all became renunciates and went back to Godhead. And then Daksha begot another 10,000 sons. And Narada did exactly the same thing. Daksha wanted his sons to become expert householders. You know, that's why they were performing the austerity. But Narada Muni saw that they had become so advanced by their austerity, you know, that it's a waste, you know, for them to become entangled again in the in household life. So therefore, Narada Muni delivered them from the repetition of birth and death and sent them back to Godhead as well. And Daksha was furious at this. He made so many accusations against Narada, and ultimately he cursed Narada. May you have no residence. And this curse is actually the greatest benediction. Actually, Narada Muni is completely independent to travel not only anywhere within this material world, but also in the spiritual realm. And then he was cursed a second time by the daughter of time. And does anyone, you remember that? Yeah. She cursed him to have no residence as well? I can't remember. Does anyone know what the curse was? I can't remember that. Anyway, so yeah, Narada Muni was cursed again by the daughter of time because she refused to accept her as his wife. So therefore, Narada Muni, he travels around the material world, delivering conditioned souls. And he's the spiritual master of very many prominent bhakti yogis. You know, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. And we see the potency of his preaching and the expertise of his preaching in regards to delivering Mrigari the hunter. Narada Muni had been visiting Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha, and he decided to go and bathe in the Prayag at the Triveni in Prayag. And so he was traveling through the forest and he saw a boar lying on the ground, pierced with an arrow, and the boar was twisting in pain. And naturally, Narada Muni felt great compassion and actually pain in his heart to see the boar in this condition. So therefore, he continued down the path, and there he came across a deer. And again, this deer had been pierced with an arrow, and was twisting in pain, half dead. And just off into the forest, Narada Muni saw this man with a very dark complexion. His eyes were red like copper. He looked like very fierce, like Yamaraj, the superintendent of death himself. And immediately Narada went to this man. And when Narada approached this man was about to fire more arrows at the animals. But when the animals, they saw Narada coming, they all fled. And the hunter was greatly disturbed by this, and he turned around and he was about to abuse Narada Muni. But because of the very presence of a sadhu, a saint like Narada Muni, the hunter was unable to chastise Narada in vulgar language. So therefore the hunter said to Narada, "My dear sir, why have you come here? You have just frightened. I have one doubt in my mind which I need to, can you please clear up for me?" He said that, "I see that there are animals on this path pierced with arrows." That's right, their legs were broken as well. Their back legs were broken and they were twisting in pain. Is this your doing? Did you do this? And the hunter said, "Yes, what you say is correct. My name is Mrigari, enemy of animals. This is the way I have been taught by my father how to hunt." And Narada Muni, he said, my dear hunter, I have one thing to beg in charity from you." And the hunter said, "Yes, of course. I have many skins. I have a tiger skin or deer skin. You can take whatever you like." And Narada Muni said, "No, I don't want any skins. I just want one thing in charity." Narada Muni said, when you fire your arrows at the animals, please fully kill them. When you capture them, don't leave them half dead. Like this, you are purposely giving them pain. Do not do this. Just kill them fully. And the hunter said, "My dear sir, what are you asking from me?" He said that this is the way I have been taught since birth. It gives me great pleasure to see animals suffering in this way. And Narada Muni told him, when you leave animals half dead, you are purposely giving them pain. He said, because you are a hunter, it is a minor offense on your part, like killing animals. But when you purposely leave them half dead, you give them pain, and therefore you will have to suffer the reaction. You will have to suffer the same pain that they are experiencing. And Mrigari was actually, because of the potency of Narada's words, Mrigari, some doubt came in his mind about what he was doing. And he had a little faith in what Narada was saying was correct. By this, so Mrigari then said, okay, but he said, "I realize now that I have accumulated so many sinful reactions. How can I be relieved of all these sins?" And Narada Muni, he said to the hunter that if you break your bow, I will tell you how you can be relieved from full reactions. And the hunter said, if I break my bow, what will be my means of livelihood? How will I support my family? How will I support my wife? And Narada Muni said, don't worry, all your needs will be fully taken care of. I will supply everything that you need to survive. And the hunter, he took that leap of faith. He broke his bow and fell at the feet of Narada Muni. You see, this is the expertise of Narada's preaching. If he had told the hunter straight away to break your bow, don't kill animals anymore, the hunter would get out of here. Probably, just take nothing Narada says seriously. But first Narada said, just don't leave the animals half dead. Just kill them fully, at least. And so Narada Muni, he instilled faith in the heart of Mrigari. And therefore, Narada instructed Mrigari after he fell at the feet of Narada. He said, Narada told him, to your home, you distribute belongings you have, for your wealth, fight brahmanas. In this way, you and your wife should go and live in a cave and plant tulsi in front of the cave. Every day you circumambulate tulsi and offer obeisances to her. In this way, you will become relieved from the suffering induced by the sinful reactions you've occurred. So that's exactly what the hunter did. He went back home and he got all his wealth, all his belongings. He distributed them to qualified brahmanas and took his wife and went to live in the cave. And day and night, he was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The local villagers, they were completely they couldn't believe what they were seeing, that this hunter had transformed into a great saint. And in order to show their appreciation for his change of heart, every day they were bringing food for him. So much food that the hunter, the Mrigari, didn't know what to do with it. So in this way, he was maintained. And then one time, Narada was with his friend Parvat Muni. And Narada said to Parvat, let me take you to go and see my disciple, Mrigari. And so Narada Muni and Parvat Muni, they were coming towards Mrigari, and Mrigari saw them in the distance. And he ran with great haste to go and see his Guru Maharaj and to fall on the ground for obeisances. But he saw that ants were on the ground. And he didn't want to crush them by offering obeisances. So first, with his cloth, he brushed them out the way and then offered his obeisances. So this was the transformation of Mrigari, a demoniac hunter, to a great saint. And Parvat Muni, he glorifies Narada, that you are just like a Chintamani stone, that can transform the iron-like qualities of a person to gold. Now, Narada Muni is coming down in our line. Our Sampradaya Acharya is Lord Brahma. And next in our disciplic succession is Narada Muni. Narada Muni is teaching by example. He is an Acharya. So therefore, his teaching is that We have to become pure in heart, give ourselves to the service of the Lord, and then the hearts of others. You know, our movement, our Krishna consciousness movement, is a preaching movement. You know, that's why it's called a movement. We're moving. You know, this we want to become qualified to give bhakti to others. We want to become perfect ourselves in devotional service and become qualified to give it to others. So in this way, we can take a great lesson from Narada Muni that we have to develop compassion, we have to become qualified, and to give Krishna consciousness to others in such an expert way that we can deliver the demoniac Kali Yugites, the demoniac living entities in Kali Yuga, and make them into great sadhus, great saints. Okay, so I'll stop there. Ask if there's any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Such a beautiful explanation of the text 3, how Narad Muni became so compassionate through the lessons of Brigari. It's very wonderful. And how you get connected to our Prabhupada mission in ISKCON. How ISKCON is movement is going on. It is not just like a self-devotion. It is spreading devotion. So connecting the people through Harinam Sankirtan and getting people in connection with ISKCON so that they also get the opportunity to become a good person and slowly to a good devotee and go back to Godhead. So this mission is of Srila Prabhupada is helping a lot through Narad Muni's instruction, and that how Narad Muni became a great preacher we can see from this example and your explanation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, if there's nothing else, maybe we can stop there. Kantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Prabhupada Jai. Jai Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
हरि हरि बोल वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि